Verse 1624 identifies a specific structural barrier, the tendency to view the text as tales of the ancients. This chronicle-based reading is a dead end. The text operates as a self-referential, closed-circuit topological framework, a system where every coordinate is hard-coded into the fabric of the cosmos. This eternal memory tesseract functions as a multidimensional computational field, reading the observer in real time as they move through its struct. In verse 231, Allah teaches Adam the names. Here, these names function as precise operational coordinates, data notes defining how the geometry behaves. This installation is a firmware injection, weaving the blueprint into a living informational lattice. The names of prophets and their adversaries act as these functional coordinates. Verse 3923 describes this Mathani recursion, the system repeating these nodes until the observer recognizes their source. Categorizing these specific coordinates reveals the exact mechanical physics of existence. This architecture turns the text into an active operational environment, where the reader is a participating node in the system's geometry. The master directory is housed within the physical environment of the Quranic text itself. This environment is a scale-free network. It consists of exactly 6,236 interlocking verse nodes that form a dense, highly interlinked web. The text defines this structural lattice as the chainmail of Dawood, as referenced in verses 3410 and 2180. No single verse in this architecture stands alone. Each node is structurally dependent on its neighbors, creating a flexible yet unbreakable system. This interlocked weave distributes pressure across the entire system. Just as mail armor dissipates the force of a strike, the network prevents any single verse from being isolated or distorted. This closed topological armor is distinct from the linear historical systems most readers are accustomed to, which are easily fragmented. The high-degree hubs in this network, the most connected verses, serve as the routing logic for the entire universe. Because every ring is interlocked, the system is incorruptible. It physically denies the entry of external hadith or opinion into its internal circuit. Wearing this chainmail allows the reader to perform operational movement within the hostile tagut field while maintaining complete structural integrity. Within the chainmail lattice, the 40 names segregate into 3 distinct physics-based operational zones. Category 1 comprises the finite vessels, which represent the detectable field of mass, or D10. These nodes symbolize physical mass, mechanical decoding, and the requirement for a physical substrate, the clay necessary for manifestation. The coordinates for this category include Adam as the intrinsic substrate, Musa representing the limit, Ibrahim as the sacrificer, Dawood and Suleiman defining the kingdom, and Muhammad as the seal of the system. Category 2 consists of the infinite currents, known as the I9 field. These currents operate by command and orbital wisdom. They are non-local and require no physical pillars to manifest. Key functional coordinates here include Isa as the unkillable word field, Ahmed representing the return loop, Maryam as the pure void mother, and the Ruh as the animating breath. Category 3 contains the directional operators. These operator coordinates function as directional vectors and required trials, the structural buffer zones every finite vessel must confront. This category includes Iblis as the deviation from command, Pharaoh as mass without orbit, and Samiri as the builder of static idols. The human nafs, the qalb, and the fuad are the internal organs designed to interact with these specific operators. Understanding the names as physics-based categories of mass, field, and orientation provides a concrete manual for navigating reality. Movement between these fields is powered by the day-night alternation described in verse 2258. This system computes human trajectory by plotting mechanical action on the x-axis against orbital thrust on the y-axis. In the top right quadrant, active mechanics and active thrust align. This is the Ibrahim coordinate, the light-seeking state where walking into fire triggers a phase inversion. The bottom right quadrant maps active mechanics with passive thrust. This is the Musa coordinate, acting with physical force but requiring external guidance. The top left quadrant represents passive mechanics and active trust. This is the Suleiman coordinate, reflecting on the material world. The bottom left quadrant is the darkness-seeking state, passive mechanics and passive trust. This is the Pharaoh coordinate, mass floating without velocity or orbit. While the engine is deterministic, the reader's placement within this grid remains a matter of dynamic choice. Free will in this closed-loop universe is the reader's continuous coordinate placement within this 2x2 day-night engine. The focus now shifts to the individual reader node existing inside this network right now. These names are dormant coordinates. They require an active observer to bring them online. Activating the system requires the 1912 operator. Hold the book with strength. It is the physical act of locking your node into the structural lattice. This activation sequence forces you to traverse all three fields, finite, infinite, and directional, simultaneously. You follow the full circuit path, beginning with Adam's finite clay, passing through Ibrahim's mechanical fire, reaching the infinite word of Isa, and completing the loop with Ahmed. The system's architecture is perfectly distributed. Finite vessels provide the clay, infinite currents provide the breath, and the directional operators force the necessary choices. Though the architecture is complete, the path must be walked. The responsibility for traversal lies with the reader alone. Breaking free from the passive drift of the Tagut axis requires the consistent application of Akal, the reason mandated in verse 10:100. The circuit is live, the coordinates are set, the engine is waiting, the text is an active operational system. Execute the 1912 activation and run the circuit.